Hello.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Hey, great. Right when I was making a ridiculous face. Thank y'all for being here this evening. I appreciate everyone in attendance. We have a quorum. So that gets us to the Pledge of Allegiance. For the Pledge of Allegiance, I was going to ask our athletics director and former board member, Mr. Mark North, to please lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mr. North. All right, I'd like to see a motion to adopt the agenda as listed. All right.
Second.
It's been first and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in approval of the adoption of the agenda, please raise your hand. That's everyone that is here. All right, that gets us to awards and recognitions. And for that, I will turn it over to our Director of Schools, Dr. Adrian Battle.
Thank you so much, Chair Elrod, and good evening to all of our board members and those joining us this evening. Before we get into our awards and recognitions, I'd like to take a moment to remember the Reverend James Lawson, the civil rights giant for whom our newest high school is named. Reverend Lawson changed our city and our nation with his passionate commitment to nonviolent resistance and his ability to teach those nonviolent techniques to young people who are willing to put their bodies on the line for their freedom. Without him and the students he mentored, students like Diane Nash, Bernard Lafayette, and the late Congressman John Lewis, change would not have come to Nashville in the South as quickly as it did. Reverend Lawson was an incredible man. What a life he led and what a legacy he leaves. I'm thankful for his work and his example, and I'm so pleased and proud that we now have James Lawson High School standing in his honor and memory. I'd like to ask, Chair, if you don't mind, if we just take a moment of silence for Reverend James Lawson. Thank you. So tonight, we have an even more student athletes to honor and recognize than we did at our last meeting. But first, we have a new program to announce. We've been fortunate to call Nashville State Community College a major partner and collaborator for a long time. And they really stepped up with the launch of our Better Together initiative 4 years ago. At that time, we already had the early college high school up and running at Nashville State's White Bridge campus, giving our students a chance to earn a college degree or college credits at the same time as their high school diploma. Since then, we have worked with Nashville State to make this amazing opportunity available to even more students and in more than just that one location. We launched an early college program at Whites Creek High School in the 21-22 school year. And last year, we announced that another early college would kick off at Glencliff High School in the 2024-25 school year, which is now less than 2 months away. And tonight, I have the privilege of announcing that the next early college site will be, can I get a drum roll? Cane Ridge High School. I'm so excited that we're able to extend this opportunity to the students at Cane Ridge starting very soon in the 24-25 school year with rising sophomores. The Nashville State courses they will take will be closely aligned to the Academy of Law at Cane Ridge High School, which is part of our internationally known Academies of Nashville model that exposes students in our zone high schools to careers through small learning communities. And Cane Ridge is just a few miles away from Nashville State Southeast Campus in Antioch. This has happened as the result of a lot of hard work by our team, especially Cane Ridge Executive Principal Deontay Alexander, who's with us this evening, and by the team at Nashville State. Thank you, Dr. Jackson and team, for being here. The teamwork and collaboration are always a beautiful thing to see, and I'm thrilled with the results that we've experienced thus far. So at this time, I'd like to invite my counterpart and partner and friend, Nashville State President Dr. Jackson, to come up and say a few words, followed by Principal Alexander. Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Battle. I am grateful for your leadership, our expanding partnership, and our shared commitment to improve college and career readiness for MNPS students and increase the number of MNPS students who attend and complete Nashville State. As Nashville's community college, we have been a bridge to opportunity for over 50 years. We remain a great next step, not just for Metro High School students, but for anyone in our service area that is seeking an affordable, quality education or to gain new skills. But I believe access to education is not enough. If we really want to improve college readiness, access, and completion, our focus must remain steadfast on providing holistic supports for students by addressing academic and non-academic barriers to success. And Nashville State has a bold Vision 2030 plan to guide our work. This is why our Better Together partnership is so powerful. Dr. Battle and MNPS are focused on the same outcomes as Nashville State. We want every MNPS student college or career ready, and on a path to economic mobility when they graduate from high school. What I know this board understands is that each student needs something different, or as Dr. Battle would like to say, every student known. And that's why I'm so excited to share in this evening's announcement of our plans to embed an early college at Cane Ridge High School. And as Dr. Battle has said, this is not new to Nashville State and MNPS, but the early college will create new opportunities to extend the runway for Cane Ridge students to take flight after high school, well prepared for the next step they choose. And I do want to say, since I have the floor, that our early college high school at the White Bridge campus, this year, 34 out of 37 seniors graduated with their associate's degree before graduating from high school. So we're really excited about the Cane Ridge Early College that's going to align with the Law Academy and is designed for students to complete an associate's degree in criminal justice or pre-law. Students will be challenged academically, but will also have a strong system of support all around them to reach the rigor of college-level work. So I just want to let you know that our Better Together partnership is truly special. As someone who has worked with multiple school systems, multiple school leaders for 20 plus years, I've never seen anything like it. We are jointly focused on student success, strengthening our communities, and increasing the talent pipeline for the Nashville region. And I am very proud of the Nashville State team. I've got two people here with me and our partners at MNPS. So we're so excited about working with Dr. Alexander and continuing to work with you, Dr. Battle, and your team. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to stand here as an executive principal at Cane Ridge to say we did it and we're striving to provide access for our team. And so one of the things I want to say for all of the chiefs, the executive directors, Dr. Battle, the board. You guys have been so supportive of the vision at Cambridge High School. And each and every day, I tell our students and our families, we're going to engage, we're going to grow, and we're going to thrive. So if I had to share a little bit about my journey, I would say we're coming to Cambridge. I said, you know what? I want to provide opportunities for our students. And I want our students not only just to come to school and go home every day, but I want them to do something they're passionate about, because we all know when we do things that we're passionate, we get great results. I'm passionate about the work. I'm passionate about the grind. So I say, you know what are some opportunities to increase our student grit and opportunities for them to be successful? And we're collaborating with Nashville State. We have several meetings talking about, well, how do we get our kids access to college and early access? And I say, you know what, we're going to champion this work. And we're going to meet with Nashville State. We're going to meet with Dr. Battle and her team, and we're going to continue to push because we believe that our students can do it. And believe it or not, our students are already excited. I have juniors and seniors now hearing about what's to come and want to know, can they get an opportunity to get associate as well? I said, well, I don't know about that one, so that's going to be that's too much work. And Jeremy's probably going to get me for if I open that access up. So we're not going to let that happen. But overall, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for investing into our Cambridge community. Our students or families are geeked up and they are ready, and we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do it big. And so I appreciate you.
Well, I love that we have such a healthy competition happening, and that competition is around doing what's right for our students, making sure that they have access, that they have just seamless pathways to their post-secondary opportunities, and there's not better competition than that. And so congratulations again to Cambridge High School. They will be our fourth early college as a part of our portfolio here at MNPS, and a huge thank you to Dr. Jackson, her team. Thank you all for just walking this journey with us every day and being willing to do what's necessary so our MNPS students thrive. At this time, I'd love to get a group photo of the team from Cambridge, Nashville State Community College, our board member, so that we can remember this moment when we announce the launch of our fourth early college. Y'all, let's give them another round of applause for their leadership. Come on, Ray, let's do it. One more. One, two, three. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you all.
I'd like to point out that we are officially on our summer break as an institution, but the work continues. We don't let summer breaks keep us from doing what's next and best for our schools and students. So again, thank you, and I'm so excited about this opportunity for our Ravens at Cambridge High School. All right, so we now have the honor of recognizing the high school track and field athletes who excelled at the TSSAA State Championships a few weeks ago. Now, before I start rolling through the individual names and honors, let me put the achievements of these student athletes and their coaches in a little context to show you their collective impact. This was a great state meet for our athletes and teams. Overall, MNPS had 1 team state champion, 1 team runner-up, 2 relay state champions, 3 relay runner-ups, 10 individual state champions, and 8 individual runner-ups. Wow. That was my next comment. Wow. Y'all know I always like to give it up for our track and field athletes and teams. So let's hear a little more about these students and their athletic accomplishments. I'll start with the individuals. Students, when I call your name, please come up to the podium and face this very admiring and appreciative audience, and then we'll get a group photo at the end. Then I'll introduce the winning teams. All right, first up, we have Avriana Beckley from East Nashville Magnet High School. She is the state champion in the girls Class A triple jump. Next, we have Amaya Shute from East, and she is the state champion in the girls high jump. And also from East, we have Azaya Shute, who finished as a runner-up in 4 girls events to show amazing all-around talent. So I've got to name them: the pentathlon, the long jump, the triple jump, and the 100-meter hurdles. Way to go, East. Next, from Maplewood High School is Carolyn McRee, the state champion in the girls AA shot put. Oh, no. From Martin Luther King Jr. Academic Magnet High School, we had outstanding performances in Class AA from several student athletes. First is Lanaya Roberts, who won the state championship in the girls discus. And MLK is where it's at for girls discus, because the runner-up for the entire state in that event is also from MLK, and that is Bianca Lovelace Coleman. Next up from MLK is Aaliyah Vernado, who won the state championship in both, wait for it, the girls 100 meters and the girls 200 meters. And also from MLK is Amaya Joy, who is the runner-up in both the pentathlon and the 100-meter hurdles. Great job, MLK. Y'all hang on, stay there. This is what happens when you're amongst greatness. It just takes a minute. From John Overton High School, we have another double state champion, and that is Kimora Lee Williams, who won the state championship in Class AAA in both the girls 100 meters and the girls 200 meters. And last but not least, we have 2 individual state champions in Class AA from Pearl Cone High School. China Harris Rucker won the state championship in the girls 400 meters. And Josh Sims won the state championship in the boys 400 meters and finished as runner-up in the boys decathlon. All right, let's give it up for all of these outstanding athletes. These are all of our individual state champions and runner-ups. Okay, we would like to invite all of you up here for a quick picture, and then we'll move to our relay and state champions.
We hear that hardware.
Well, I was asked to share how much I love hearing those metals clank.
You go up, I go down. Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. One more time.
All right, we have more to celebrate. And I'll just say, I don't feel too old that some of my own classmates' daughter was recognized as a state champion tonight. We're not too old, we're not. Good to see you all. Congratulations again to all our individual track and field state champions and runner-up. Now let's honor our winning relay teams. In Class AA, Pearl Cone had 2 state champion relay teams, the girls 4x200 meters and the girls 4x400 meters. Y'all come on up so that we can recognize you. Also in Class AA, MLK's relay teams were runners-up in 2 events, the girls 4x100 meters and the girls 4x200 meters. Come on up so that we can recognize you. And in Class Single A, the Whites Creek High School girls were the runners-up in the 4x100 meters. All right, congratulations to Pearl Cone, MLK, and Whites Creek girls on your victories at the state championship. We'd like to have you all come on up and get a quick photo. Oh, MLK, Whites Creek.
Nobody noticed that. Like, no. We waiting on them to figure out. I can see this one. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Parents.
No, one more right here. Perfect.
I want to cover it.
All right, so congratulations again to all of our winning relay teams. Now, every state track and field meet also has an overall team champion and runner-up, which are determined by adding up the points earned at each event. And we did well in that regard too. So in Class AA, the team runner-up in the girls' meet was Martin Luther King Jr. Academic Magnet High School. MLK, come on up.
That's why you have it. Thank you.
And we have a teen state champion too. In Class Single A, the state champions are the East Nashville Magnet High School girls. Come on up.
Because it used to be Emily, right? East, Christian. Christian.
Three.
Well, this was just one of a couple recognitions of these wonderful student athletes. We also celebrated all of our champions at our Breakfast of Champions event a couple weeks ago. But congratulations again to all of our outstanding track and field performers, and thank you for representing MNPS so well. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. It was wonderful to get to celebrate all of those awards. I call it the jingle jangle of all the awards. It's a beautiful sound, and it's really exciting to be a part of. So I appreciate us being able to recognize all of them and making sure we made time for them. But that gets us back to our director's report. And for that, I'm going to turn it back over to our Director of Schools, Dr. Adrienne Battle.
All right, thank you again, Chair Rod and board members. It's just always exciting to celebrate our students, and again, for them to remain focused and connected even over the summer break, to be here for us to recognize them is so encouraging. All right, so let me just say a quick word on TCAP data. Tomorrow, the Tennessee Department of Education will be providing districts with embargoed TCAP achievement and end of score files. Thus far, we have only had quick score data, which is typically used for grading purposes when received in time. We did not receive it in time this year, so it was not factored in. The department also released crosswalks allowing districts and schools to match initial quick scores to proficiency levels. Based on our quick score calculations, we are cautiously optimistic about what tomorrow's data will show our teams in the subject areas available. This will include everything, every tested category in TCAP and end of course exams, with the exception of integrated math, which will not be available until the fall. So the standards were changed for integrated math, so that data will be delayed until the fall. But we are cautiously optimistic to celebrate the achievement of our MNPS students. On Thursday, the state plans to release third and fourth grade ELA proficiencies, but all other data are embargoed until June 24th. So I should have a lot more to report to you on at our next meeting on the 25th. But we are very optimistic about what we're seeing thus far. Well, I'm just saying I feel good based upon what I know right now, but I'll know a lot more in a couple of weeks, and we'll share that with you. And then we'll probably be able to get a feel if we'll be able to celebrate a level 5 3-peat going into the next school year. So I'm going to stay disciplined, Tina. I didn't say anything, but just we could get a feel of if we might actually realize the 3-peat. Yes. But I will say, I'm looking forward to digging into that data. And again, from early indications, exemplifying the focus and the intentionality the school board has led with and how the administration has responded, not to be distracted with the things other than what is necessary to get it done for our children. So I'm really excited about that, and it's encouraging as we're planning and getting ready to execute on our plan for the 24-25 school year that we're on the right track. So, thank you again, Chair Elrod, for giving me just a moment. I'm going to get back to task, which is our director's report. So during my first year in this role, we launched our Metro Schools Reimagined initiative so that we could ensure equitable learning environments and truly reimagine how we can improve academic outcomes for all students. And while the pandemic delayed some of the implementation, it never derailed any of our ideas. We never stopped working and we never stopped innovating. This has taken on many forms, from moving 5th grade back into our elementary schools and putting advocacy centers in all elementary schools to closely integrating academic and social emotional learning and creating stronger leadership supports and support networks within our clusters. That's just a small sample of our efforts, really, and I appreciate and value the board's guidance and collaboration around this work. So tonight, we're going to hear from Chief of Student Support Services, Dr. Elisa Norris, who has been leading the Metro Schools Reimagined initiative from the beginning. She's going to speak about our recent evaluation of its impact during the 21-22 school year, specific to our pre-K, K-5 transition. So Chief Norris, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Battle. Greetings, Chair Elrod, board members, and Dr. Battle again. This evening, it is my pleasure to share with you some preliminary evaluation findings from our first Reimagined cohort. As always, we begin with what grounds the district's approach to ensure that every student is known. The work is divided into the signature initiatives that outline the district's priorities. This evening, we'll be highlighting 3 of the focused outcomes: SEL, literacy, and numeracy. And also, we are highlighting the core tenet to create and support engaging, rigorous, and personalized learning experiences for all students. As a reminder, the vision for Metro Schools Reimagined is about ensuring that there are equitable educational opportunities for all students across the district. By focusing on cohesive academic programming, SEL integrated learning environments, and aligned district supports, we have seen clusters collaborate across tiers to create meaningful academic experiences for students. At the core of Metro Schools Reimagined are the 11 uniform strategies that will happen in all clusters. We assert that these uniform strategies are foundational to equitable educational opportunities for all. Just as Dr. Battle mentioned in her opening comments, it's important to note that we have been implementing other uniform strategies, such as the expansion of Community Achieves and other wraparound social emotional supports like advocacy centers in all elementary schools and peace centers in all secondary schools. The uniform strategies are the bedrock of Metro Schools Reimagined. This evening, I'm focusing on the pre-K, K-5 school model. Thanks to the leadership of this board and the hard work and determination of school-based leaders and the support hub, 5th grade will be in all elementaries at the start of school year 24-25. I'm going to repeat that. Thanks to the leadership of this board and the hard work and determination of school-based leaders and the support hub, 5th grade will be in all elementaries at the start of school year 24-25. This means then that we have transitioned 5th grade back into 70 elementary schools in the span of 4 years. This has certainly been a monumental effort that required buy-in from principals, teachers, staff, faculty, and collaboration across all departments at the support hub. From the start of Metro Schools Reimagined, we prioritized collecting data so that we could better understand the impacts of this paradigm shift. We collaborated with a team from Vanderbilt that evaluated the first year of the Reimagine initiative. Specifically, Joanna Woods and Ryan Etheridge investigated the impacts of the fifth grade transition on literacy, numeracy, school climate, attendance, discipline, and enrollment trends in this first cohort. In academics, we see that Reimagine students in the first cohort outperformed their peers in math. While we did not see the same statistical difference in ELA, we do see a positive trend in this area that we can build upon. We are confident that we will see the same type of ELA gains in the coming years. When considering school climate, we see that Reimagine students reported higher ratings in academic press, student-teacher relationships, student-student relationships, sense of belonging, and overall engagement. This means that students feel like they are members of school communities that support their academic pursuits in ways that also support their social emotional development. Here we see that non-Reimagine students were more likely to transfer out of the district than those who were part of the first Reimagine cohort. MNPS students and families are choosing to remain in MNPS and are then able to take advantage of the stronger cluster alignment that is part of the Reimagined vision. The key takeaways then from this research are that transitioning fifth grade back to the elementary setting had positive impacts in academics, SEL and school climate, and enrollment. Our students are thriving academically, feel more supported and welcomed in their school environments, and are choosing to stay in their cluster schools. Additionally, the Vanderbilt researchers discussed the positive themes that emerged from the qualitative interviews of administrators, teachers, staff, and faculty. Overall, interviewees felt that this transition was the right thing to do for students and that it has positively contributed to perceptions about MNPS's commitment to ensuring that every student is known. In short, what we imagined for our students came to be. From the start, this board has been supportive of and committed to Metro Schools Reimagined. Please continue to invest in programmatic and capital projects as we continue to reimagine what our students experience in MNPS. The Reimagine Signature Initiative represents what happens when dreaming about what is possible for students meets strategic planning and meaningful collaboration, and there is buy-in from schools, families, and the support hub. And with that, I turn it back to you, Dr. Battle. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Norris, Chair Rod. Mike is yours.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions or discussion?
Have one for clarification.
Yes.
I just have one for clarification. Cohort 1, it's the 2021 school year students. What grade are those students entering in FY 24-25? 21-22. Yeah.
So next year, they
Is
will
it-
be our,
Rising
Freshman.
freshman. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I was just like, wait a minute, I think that's.
All right.
so they've had.
Thank
their-
y'all for y'all collaborative work on that. We improved in math performance, by the way.
Not us, our students, our students, not us.
Do you have a further question on that?
No, that was it.
Okay. Member O'Hara Block.
I really just wanted to take a chance to compliment Dr. Norris on all of this work because 70, I mean, we're going to be at 74, 75, right, at some point, but 76. I mean, it is a massive undertaking what Dr. Norris and team have done, and the amount of things that pop up here and there and could have gone wrong, and some things that did, but very quick correction and a lot of support. And then I know there was even more support added this year, so just really grateful for all of your work on this and all of the various teams and the cross-teaming, and really just, I know it was tough, and appreciate also the way in which you all kept board members up to date on what was happening and when schools would get transitioned, how that was going to work. So just want to say thank you.
Member Tyler?
I also just have a quick clarification. One of the findings was that the students in cohort 1 were less likely to transfer between their 4th and 5th grade years. What's that compared to whom?
That's in comparison to non-cohort students who may have been in 5th grade but in a middle school at the time.
It's the non-reimagined.
The non-reimagined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so transfer from their zoned school then, because they were already having to move from their elementary to their middle school, right?
Right.
So staying on their pathway?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Do you have something? Vice Chair Blair?
Yeah, I just remember when we first initiated this and kind of building on Member O'Hara Block's, just especially coming out of COVID, the discipline that you and more importantly our teachers had and our principals had to make this happen. You were very patient with us when we had a lot of questions, particularly from our constituents, and just to see that happen coming out of COVID too and be able to implement it with fidelity, I think it's something that needs to be admired and recognized because coming out of COVID, it was not an easy transition for any of us to get back to the new normal, however you want to classify it. And so to see this happen with all the transitions with that is to be recommended. And thank you to the staff that actually did this on a school basis, because I know that's not an easy part to do too. It's one thing for us to design it, it's another thing to implement it. And so just thank you for doing that and doing it with fidelity.
Member Masters?
Thank you. This is very impressive and exciting. I am wondering about the middle schools and sort of what we've been measuring, if anything, around sort of the culture changes in the middle schools. Like I know anecdotally, like it's sort of changed what we're able to offer in athletics, but just kind of curious, what are we measuring and what sort of impact are we seeing as a result of taking middle school back to being just 6 through 8?
Yes, so you would notice that there's pretty good consistency in what we're measuring, both at the elementary level and the middle school level. So every school still has both academic and non-academic data points that we're tracking. But you're right, we're also measuring things like culture and climate and the feedback with regards to that, which was really strong in this particular survey. You mentioned extracurricular activities. We've gotten a lot of feedback about the addition of AVID in our middle schools and the intentional focus in providing those personalized learning experiences. So we're trying to create a balance of both quantitative and qualitative data points to help really guide us as we're moving forward. So the data points are very similar. The initial impact, of course, just because behind the why of the transition, we did start with the 5th grade remaining in the elementary space, and we look forward to the future as our research assessment and evaluation team continues to dig into the data points year after year. I mean, we've already identified that the first cohort of students are now 9th graders, so we'll be able to see if that sustained growth and achievement exists, and also that engagement in their school community. So we will continue to dig into that, knowing that the data points are relevant regardless if it's elementary or middle school.
Member Fain?
Again, thank you for this information. Very, 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 very good. Do we have any way for parents to access any of the metrics or data to support this decision?
Yes, there's a few ways. I'm glad you asked that question as well. So we have our personalized student dashboard, which every family has access to 24/7. It is individualized to each student that we serve across our district, so regardless of the grade. And families are able to back that individual data up to our focus outcomes, so they can see exactly where their student is for our annual goals. But they're also able to track that on an individual basis as we release data points like benchmarks and and TCAP assessments. So that is one way. We also share many of our data points around our climate survey. That's accessible on our website as well. And from individual data points, principals and school counselors and teachers are also sharing that information. And I'll be remiss if I didn't share the access that our families have to the transition plans that our students create, which reflect their current experiences in the schools that they're enrolled in, but also projects out of around what they are expecting and would like to see in alignment to their talents and aspirations.
Thank you.
Dr. Gentry?
So, wait, mine.
Go, Bertina.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I also want to convey the community feedback that we have received about this. It, outside of the kinks and the transition and things like that, families have been really happy about the transition and felt more confident in their children staying in elementary versus going to middle school. And I think we have attributed that in the data of the retention that we're seeing of students staying within the district as opposed to leaving out. But the feedback that I have been receiving has been really positive and really uplifting. Parents really love that fifth grade has moved back into elementary and feel like their kids are really soaring in that environment. So thank you so much again for your work, your team's work, and everyone who played a part in making this happen.
Dr. Gentry, are we returning
I
to
was
you?
going to say something really entertaining. So I want you to, looking at you as you're giving your report and you're like, these jokers are just sitting here staring at me, not giving me any bit of reaction. And it just reminds me, my daughter dances at Malone Studios and she does aerial, right? So they climb in silks, they wrap themselves up in very intricate ways and they let their hands go and they drop. And the audience is quiet because it's amazing. Right? And so I just want you to know that our silence wasn't, no big deal. It's like, this is a big deal. And so I do want you to know that it literally is, as all the questions would suggest, when this happened, we were like, yeah, Dr. Battle. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, nobody's going to go for this. Like, this is too much. Like, we just came out of COVID. And it literally was, horrible analogy, but like, the murder of George Floyd, everybody struck while the iron was hot, right? People of color became en vogue. COVID, it was our chance, right? You've been home, you've been away from school. Let's fix the environment. So when you come back, it's the environment that we know is conducive to your academic success. Not only just coming out of COVID and what we knew the SEL impact to those students would be, but bringing them back into an environment. And think about the number of middle schoolers who went to middle school in their bedroom. Right? And so how do we fix this? How do we create a space for that same child who is now has a deficit in making the adjustment from elementary school to middle school? How do we compensate for what that child did not receive and to prepare them for that huge growth spurt? Because we know across the board, academically, 4th to 5th grade is a nightmare. Socially, 4th to 5th grade is a nightmare. And so you put them in a space where they're not only asked to make the leap academically from 4th to 5th grade, but we're now asking you to make a leap socially, right? Into a space that you're not accustomed to being in. So I just want to say, add my thanks to that and to let you know that this is all. This isn't boredom. This is, all right, it worked. We knew it was going to work the entire time, Dr. Battle. But thank you all. Yeah, this is great. This lady's cuckoo.
I was going to say, we are often we're at the will of the board, and that's not just us as a group of 9 and our own colleagues. It is a lot of times the historical boards that have been before us, and a lot of times we cannot unravel the work that has been done. We know that from whether it's the janitorial services or other hot topic discussions that we have on trying to figure out what's the next best thing that we can do with what we're able and available to do. And 5th grade was one of those things of we knew it was the right thing to try to reverse and try to fix, and it was deeply desired, but trying to do it just seemed like trying to eat an elephant. And so It was, I think, wise planning to do it by cluster, by quadrant, so we could learn and find best practices within that. I also really appreciated, we were really clear. Dr. Battle was very clear that we were sticking with the quadrants. And then we had some schools that were able, and I know that personally because my schools are just now getting the fifth grade back. And so I was like, maybe I got some schools. But we did have some schools that did have abilities to get fifth grade back into them before their quadrant. And I appreciated the flexibility of our internal teams, both our school-based teams and, of course, within the support hub of making sure that happened. So it looked like it was progress and equitable as much as we could, and that we went as fast as we could as well, because we had so many parents that were very eager about it when it was first announced. And as we all know, as soon as you announce it, everyone's like, okay, now it's happening tomorrow. And the 4-year plan seemed like a long plan, but it was a short plan for the amount of schools. It's just people don't realize, frankly, how big we are. And so I appreciate us unraveling that work and getting back to it. I think it serves us greatly for not just this cohort of students that we're currently talking about, but all the students in front of us, including the District 2 students that are starting. My kids are going to be the first fifth grade back at their school, and so we are excited about that for next year. I do have a couple questions. So my first question is, and it's clarification for myself, is I know that this cohort is on that first cohort of students that we had go through. Are we also evaluating each cohort as they go through that transition, or is it just that first one?
We wanted to do this one kind of in isolation because one, it takes so much time to kind of follow the data points. And so periodically we will have some evaluation of it. I mean, you will have an annual evaluation because we'll have our annual standardized assessments. We'll have our focused outcomes. And so just naturally that will be baked in. But we'll occasionally do some deeper dives around how things are working, particularly because this is the last year of the implementation. And so you can anticipate some of that. Some of it is already integrated in who we are and what we do and what we talk about anyway. But while I have the mic, I also want to, I'd be remiss if I did not give Dr. Norris already shared this, our school principals and our educators. I just have to give them a huge thank you because this is not possible. It does not work as seamless without their leadership and commitment to doing what's right for our students. And the amount of embracing and just excitement internally from our team to support students and families is encouraging and gives us more of a leverage that we can just about do anything we can focus on or put our minds to, even though things are very complex. And this is one issue that we've dealt with and thought about for a long time. But with the right support, with the time to plan and execute, we know that there are lots of things that are attainable. But I wanted to give the school teams and the leadership teams a well-deserved thank you as well.
For sure. Yes, please. I know a lot of this information, particularly about the school climate, we already monitor and evaluate internally through our own evaluations and other work. So I'm glad that we're going to continue to keep an eye on that just through the different cohorts, just to make sure that we're continuing to have progress. My assumption is that it will continue to be the same because these are just common sense, probably good ideas of how they would be changed. In that note, I guess I would like to know, do we have any data on slide 8, where we have the cohort between 4th to 5th grade, and they were less likely to transfer between their 4th and 5th grade years. Do we have data, or do we look at data on if they were likely to transfer between their 5th and 6th grade years?
We do. We can share that. That goes back to some of our enrollment data, and what you're going to see is pretty consistent and aligned of the likelihood that a family would remain within either their choice pathway or their zone pathway, moving from elementary to middle school. So we see that quantitatively, but we also have just the conversations and the feedback from families about their preparedness to move into the middle school space. So that's something that we can share at a later date.
Okay. The concerns that I hear from parents, if I hear a concern about it, is usually one of two folds. And so I just want to make sure that we talk about it and that we're just all clear on it. The first one is that parents are concerned with a reduced student-based budget in their middle school. They're concerned about lost services. How are we mitigating that? How are we managing that? Is that true? What is the answer to that question?
So the simple answer to this question is that every school's budget is built on enrollment. So the money follows the kid, the student. And so that's the simple answer. School funding is based on enrollment and then the unique needs of the students that are being served. Now, we're also fortunate that during our transition time, including next year, thanks to the bridge funding, schools have had access to additional funding to support the transition of fifth grade moving out of the middle school. But the long-term goal is for schools to continue to build their enrollment base that will account for what they've seen in transition. But the bottom line is that your funding is based upon the number of students you serve. And so while there may be a reduction in the total amount, it is the same ratio of funding that you would have regardless of the number of students in your school.
My second question is maybe more complex, though it doesn't seem like it, is usually lunch. It's usually concerns about how are we going to handle all these kids in lunch. So can you tell us how that decision is made and how we've seen that work?
This is a school-based decision that's supported by our executive directors and leadership teams around scheduling around pre-K or K-5 structures. The fortunate thing is we've been doing this for quite a while now. So we have lots of lesson learns and best models that our principals are sharing with one another of how they achieve a schedule to accommodate all students with success. So it's really no longer our support hub leading the conversation. Our principals are leading the conversation because they have the up-close experience and the lessons learned that they can share with their peers. So that's pretty much the model we've used. We had some initial best practices. I do want to remind us that we did have a school because of a new build before this transition that already had fifth grade. And so we leveraged lots of lessons learned in that space before we started the entire district transition. So our principals are sharing best practices and models to learn from. We kind of like give them the floor and they teach us how it works and you know, things to anticipate as we move forward.
And thanks to Cole for being that test guinea pig for us. Thank you, Chad Hedgebath. Thank you for this information. We are excited about it. I know that we have a few more follow-ups. So, Member Tyler, do we have anybody else?
Sorry, I thought of a couple things. Going back to the cohort that's less likely to transfer between their fourth and fifth grade years. So it looks like we were trying to compare the same year of students to their matched peers. Do we have information on the school itself? How many students chose to leave their zoned pathway when fourth grade was the end of school and they moved on to fifth grade at a separate school? How many went to their zoned fifth grade school at that point versus how many chose to stay at the school when fifth grade was in elementary? Do you understand what I'm saying? To see if within the same group, I know there are two separate sets of kids, but they're from the same school. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat it one more time? I want to make sure I'm
Yes.
following.
So right now, it seems like we're comparing the same year. We've matched students to similar other schools that I assume have similar socioeconomic and all sorts of other things that match them. Is that? But
I think this comparison, and Tina, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is a simple comparison from what you would call a control group.
Yeah.
And a non-controlled group. So every student in the grade level was a part of the data set. And we're comparing the students who were part of Reimagine versus not part of Reimagine. And we're not doing a comparison particularly of the type of school, the makeup of the school. However, we were very intentional about where we started.
Okay.
And so, if I may, I would share that this data is also more impressive if we were taking that look at the impact that was here. So we took a very equity-centered approach to how we built the phases. And so that exists, but the comparison here is simply Metro Schools Reimagined to non-Metro School Reimagined cohort of students.
I would assume that it would show more kids choosing to stay in the elementary school if we had compared year to year as opposed to same year, two cohorts. That makes sense to me, but I just didn't know, and I'm sure that data is available. It's just not in front of us. Exactly. And that makes perfect sense. And then my only other question was, do we have any information on the impact on, as a former gifted teacher or teacher of gifted and academically talented students. I know that it sometimes can be hard to fit everybody K through 4 as an elementary school into your schedule for a week. Adding fifth grade on, how do we know that that's impacted those students? Are they getting the same amount of hours? Are we making sure that we're supporting them the same as we were before? Are we adding an extra teacher if we need to? What have we done?
So we actually make that adjustment after the first year phase in. It was an adjustment we made to our student-based budgeting by allotting the full gifted and talented teacher position based upon the enrollment. So that's something that we adjusted for in our SBB because we knew and we wanted to capture more students who could benefit from that support during the day. So that was something that Dr. Bellamy, Chief Bellamy, Chief Perry, and Executive Officer David Williams led that with their teams to make sure that we were adjusting our student-based budgeting to account for that access.
Okay, so it would be
So at the
fair.
time,
It would be fair to say that students are receiving the same amount of services as they had
absolutely,
previously been receiving.
absolutely. And we
Okay.
went ahead and made the adjustment for all schools because we knew we were transitioning fifth grade to all schools in the process.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Member Fain?
So I counteract that. I think we focused a lot on the kids going back to fifth grade in elementary schools and it being crowded or not having a space. But now that we have the space and opportunity in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, we can have better enrollment options. Teachers don't have as crowded classrooms, or we can hire more staff and use the spaces that we were once using accommodating the fifth graders, correct?
Well, it gives us an opportunity to maximize the space we have in a very intentional way to support sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. If you look at curriculum design, if you look at the social emotional learning needs of students, if you look at the certifications of teachers and staff within middle schools, it just gives you better alignment. That better alignment then should promote the enrollment and the equivalent space that's needed within the school building. And so that's what you should start to see is that balancing out over time because we've capitalized on our guaranteed experience in elementary schools, that the foundation is strong, that we're leaning on our Metro Schools Reimagined pathways so students are then prepared for that middle school transition, and we have the phenomenal staff and leadership that can be responsive to those needs when students arrive.
Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you for all of this information. Thank you to all of our staff for helping with it, including all of our school-based staff, including those nutritional staff that we were talking about with the cafeteria. It affected all positions. So I appreciate it. Is there anything else?
I think that's all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief Norris.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Norris. All right, that gets us to public participation. We have one person signed up for public participation. I'm not sure their name is coming up. For public participation, you have 2 minutes to speak. We have a new timer right here on the corner. And so you will see your 2 minutes list there. It will make a frankly unnerving beeping sound at you at the end of your 2 minutes. It will turn yellow when you have a minute left and or 30 seconds left, excuse me, so you can help justify your time and kind of better organize it. The only person we have signed up for public participation this evening is Christian Buggs.
Welcome. Yes, thank you. It is such a pleasure to stand before you all. I'm Christian Buggs, a resident of Ms. T.K. Fain's district in District 5. I'm so happy to come to you as a parent, but I'm also happy to come to you as CEO of Pencil, the Pencil Foundation that was created 42 years ago specifically to be the business connector to MNPS. I was going to talk about all the different buckets of work we do, the way we have an educator resource center, and how I want every educator in Nashville to come visit us to get resources. I wanted to talk in depth about how we partner with the academies and offer job shadowing, how we partner at the middle and elementary school levels. And I even wanted to talk a lot about our TDOE grant that we actually got extended. It was supposed to end in May of this year, but is now extended for at least one more year, and we're really excited about that. But instead, I would love to take some time because 4 weeks ago, I had scheduled myself to come and speak before you all then, only to realize that my son Christopher was having his kindergarten presentation. They were going to have a talent show. And I was so excited to share that with my former colleagues and some friends in my area. But it made me think about this idea that 7 years ago, I couldn't do that. As board members, as MNPS staff, you all don't get a choice because it is your job to move the work of the district forward. So instead, I'll use the remainder of my time simply saying thank you. Pencil is always here to be a supporter of you all, but I thank you all for being good partners, being loving parents, actually caring about education and educators, even in a time in our country and even in our state when public education is not always supported. So because I'm nice like that, I'm going to give you all back a few seconds of my time, but really, I do miss you all. It has been beautiful to be able to watch MNPS from afar, but please always consider me, my family, and of course the Pencil family as members of the MNPS family. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. All right. That gets us to governance. We have had the agenda adopted. If there's no objections, we have adopted the agenda as listed. If there's no objections, these items will be adopted. Is there any objections? All right, seeing none, these items are adopted by unanimous consent. And that gets. Oh, no. 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 That gets us to board reports. For board reports, we have Jeffrey Berry that's coming up to speak to us from the Tennessee Environmental Council. As you may know from our public participation policy, Mr. Berry has 10 minutes to speak to us about the work that TEC is doing inside of our schools. We are listening to him about this information in response to our recent resolution that we passed about Earth Day. And so it's in response to that work that we're doing instead of, as we may usually hear about our core tenants work, as we would typically hear about. Because this is a unique and new thing that we are trying as public participation. We appreciate you being here and giving us your patience and helping us organize it for the first time. And additionally, I want to let us know that we're purely getting information from Mr. Berry, and we're not going to be questioning him afterwards or having a Q&A. However, he has been more than available to me for any questions or anything. So if you have any follow-up, I'm sure that he will be more than happy to follow up with you if you would like to reach out to him. So do we have his timer set for him? Perfect. All right, Mr. Berry, take us away.
Thank you, Chair Elrod and Dr. Battle, who's not here right now, but and board members. Well, for the video later on, Dr. Battle, thank you for this opportunity to share a bit of our story with you. My name is Jeffrey Berry. I am CEO of Tennessee Environmental Council, but I'm also a parent, a proud parent of two students who have gone through K through 12 in the public schools here in Nashville. So I have a vested interest in what I'm about to share with you and what we're doing on campuses, and look forward to have a chance to talk more with you offline at a later date. But Tennessee Environmental Council is a statewide nonprofit organization. We were founded in 1970, and our mission is helping people and communities improve our environment. And our vision is thriving habitats, a circular economy, and climate balance in Tennessee. And that's why I applaud the Earth Day resolution that you all passed on April 23rd this year, because it aligns so closely with that vision. And everything you said in that resolution is about thriving habitats, a circular economy, and climate balance, and how schools are part of that, and an essential part of that, not just for the the district itself, but the students that are going through and getting their education. So Tennessee Environmental Council has several programs that work toward that vision, and I want to give a couple highlights, but I did want to mention that, and some of these programs align really well with what the Earth Day resolution focuses on, but we did plant our 1 millionth tree earlier this year, our 1 millionth native tree in Tennessee. It took 17 years and over 100,000 volunteers to get there. But you can go visit that tree down there across from the museum in Bicentennial Mall State Park. What I want to focus most of my presentation on, and I definitely thank you for the 10 minutes here, this is quite an honor, is our work establishing pollinator habitats on campuses throughout the district. And this was a photo with TVA board member Beth Harwell, former state speaker as well, at Stratford STEM in East Nashville. And this is our groundbreaking ceremony in the fall of 2021, right after pandemic. We got back out there to help the schools in some ways. But in order to get there, I want to thank SSMV. We've worked closely with the School for Science and Math at Vanderbilt for 9 years with their students. And that partnership is what opened the door to working with Stratford STEM. So I did want to acknowledge that. SSMV has been essential in our work and very helpful and a wonderful partner as well. But we had the groundbreaking and we planted that ceremonial garden there, just a 4x8 garden, just to get it kicked off. And we had the gold shovels and everything. But we planted our first garden there a month later on Stratford STEM campus, about 2,500 square feet. And since 2021, so 2.5 years later, we've planted 50 gardens like that, not just on MNPS campuses, but in parks and other locations in Middle Tennessee. So this is what the garden looked like a year later at Stratford STEM, just one of our gardens. We have 19 gardens like this at Stratford STEM alone now. And we have gardens at 9 campuses, and I'll show you the list of the campuses in a moment here. But we transform grass into habitat. Lawn that has to be mowed every week or two to a habitat that just needs to be maintained once a year or so. And it's a beautiful place, but there's a lot of benefits just beyond the beauty. And I had a couple of videos queued up to play. They will be shared with you by Chair Elrod later, so you can watch them. They're just 1 minute, 1.5 minute videos. But the first video is to show you the process of how we create those gardens on campus. And by the way, one of the most important points I want to make tonight is that Tennessee Environmental Council did all the planning, did all the partnership building with the school administrators, Dr. Pratt there at Stratford STEM, and Dr. Angela McShepard-Ray at MLK, and working with David Proffitt, the executive director of the grounds. Oh, you're going to play the video for us. Thank you. And this is what the process looks like. There's my daughter at MLK. Moving sod. So we take out the grasses and we replace it with topsoil. So we remove all the weeds and then we spread the topsoil out. We do all this with volunteers, with students, with community members, with teachers, and Dr. Pratt himself. Lots of volunteers. We do all the volunteer work after school hours and on weekends and holidays. But we've done a number of schools, East End Prep, MLK, like I said, 9 different campuses. We spread the seeds, and once you spread the seeds, you just walk away from the garden. Rain takes care of watering the gardens, and nature does the rest. And you can start seeing the sprouts of there's 20 different native plants in those seed mixes. And of course, the monarch butterflies and other native pollinator insects.
Tennessee Environmental Council, and this is the Generate Some Buzz Pollinator Program. I would like to show you some of our new gardens that we just recently started. This garden was established in the fall or end of October in 2022, and you can already see that many of the beautiful wildflowers are starting to come up.
So the transformation is vivid, it's beautiful, and it's very beneficial for the habitat, for the students, for STEAM learning opportunities as well. Because these are outdoor classrooms that we're creating on the campuses. And there's your monarch caterpillar munching on some of the native milkweed that we planted from seed. So you can see that these do transform the landscape in a very beneficial way and provide those STEAM learning lesson opportunities. We had partnership with Nashville Zoo, and they brought their biologists over and worked with students at Stratford STEM to tag the monarchs and study the benefits of the gardens for the monarch butterflies. And that's just one example of many of the things that can be done with the curriculum we've created. And so thank you for your work back there to keep us moving forward. So those are where our gardens are located, 9 campuses, 27 gardens on the campuses total. And there's the list. Chair Elrod will share this deck with you so you can look closer at the schools where we've created the gardens. Here's a nice overview of Stratford STEM on Porter Avenue. Now, for every acre we replace with habitat, it means $100 less mowing costs. You got to mow once every week or two. That's very expensive, but every acre does not need to be mowed. So there is cost savings in the long run, and it's not a huge savings, but it just shows that it doesn't cost more to have a habitat. In fact, it does reduce the cost. There are many benefits of these gardens, and we're seeing that through our work, not just for the pollinators, but for the community, for the students, and for the campus. Again, you can check out the presentation closer. We install signage at our gardens so that the education is there, and QR code for more information. And we showed how to design, create, and study in those gardens. And like I said, we have 9 campuses now. We're going to do our 10th this fall with Dan Mills. And we look forward to expanding that with your support in the coming years. We'd love to see habitats at every MNPS campus in the next few years. And that's our goal, that's our vision. We also have expertise. We don't have to play this video just for a time factor here, but we do have experience with composting, helping residents do that. Over 1,000 participants have composted through our program and other stakeholders. So we'd love to work with you as well on how you roll out your compost pilot as well for cafeterias, because there's an enormous amount of food waste that could be turned into soil amendment and put back in our pollinator gardens on campus right there, a circular economy at work, instead of filling up our landfills with food waste and food scraps. And we have a short video that Chair Elrod will share with you as well. I do want to call out Karen McIntyre at Westmead Elementary, who was instrumental in creating the compost program there, and the principal on campus that got the students composting all that food waste and diverting all the unused food to other uses where people could actually eat that food. So Westmead is an incredible example. We made a short video about that that's also on YouTube. And we could help facilitate crowd-based fundraising to support those initiatives, participate in any working groups you might have in developing to make sure that pilot is a success, and any other ways we can help to make our campuses more sustainable. That's what we're here to do with you all across Tennessee. I love this shot of, this is one of the most recent gardens we established at MLK, right there in the shadow of downtown with heavy student participation. And we have done all the fundraising to pay for all the expense of creating these gardens to the tune of about $100,000 a year. We will continue to do the fundraising as we expand, and that's one of the roles we play. We would love to have a liaison with your board so that we can make sure we're doing it right by you. And so to be able to communicate on a regular basis about how we do this and roll it out. So thank you for the opportunity. We look forward to working with you as we expand.
You did perfect on the timing, and I'm sorry for that harassment that you are receiving. Thank you so much, Mr. Berry. All right, thank you so much. As said, I will update our SharePoint with all of the materials that he shared with me. That way we can all look at them as needed. Okay.
So just one comment. I was actually able to go to the groundbreaking, and I want to make sure that we understand, because and I want to make sure I'm getting this right. But I believe they said that the pollinator garden at Stratford was the largest in the state of Tennessee. And if that is true, that's pretty amazing.
There's a lot of them at Stratford, I know. That's impressive. Looks like it's a yes. Okay. All right.
That sounds good.
Okay. Do you have a comment?
No, I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing and the initiatives that were established there. I was able to join Cheryl at the Stratford event where we brought in our first collection of honeybees. And as a person who is definitely allergic, definitely allergic to honeybees, it was an experience.
She pushed me out
And
front.
yeah, and I pushed her over there to take the pictures. It wasn't worth my life, but the experience was amazing, and the work and the contributions were equally amazing to see and to see that work over there. So thank you, and thanks to you to everyone that was involved in that process.
All right. Thank you so much. That gets us to our board announcements, and I'm going to start off with our junior board member for those. Oh, so you're about to be a rising senior. Would you like me to wait till the end? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty much a senior already, you know.
That's fair.
I feel the burnout. I feel the burnout. I was gonna say this a few seconds ago, I guess, but I know James Lawson isn't really under the garden initiative and things like that, but there are a lot of gardens at James Lawson, and it is it's really noticeable to me as a student to see the stark contrast between the gardens at Lawson and the dead grass at Hillwood. But I know there's some clubs, there's biking clubs. I know at the end of the year, and I know APES, the AP Environmental Science class, goes outside for walks all the time. I know at the end of the year, a lot of classes go on walks in general too. And it's been beautiful to see because it just brings so much life into the school. I love how much it saves costs, but also just looks so pretty. And I'm glad we're doing so much for the environment because obviously we got to take care of that for the future. And that's all I'd say.
Okay. All right. That gets us to District 3. I'll say Sharon is good.
I do want to say, I don't really have any announcements, but I want to say thank you to some of my fellow board members. I was just thinking about the fact that, Stratford is in my district and I couldn't go to the B event. And I just put a call out and Berthena and Cheryl were there. They even brought me swag. Dr. Pratt also gave me swag, so I kind of racked up that day. And then I had another, important event that Berthena and Frida showed up for. I like that. Maybe I'm going to be nostalgic over the next couple of meetings since it's all wrapping up. I may or may not have already accepted a position on a PTSO for next year so that I can keep the party going. Okay, yeah, I did it. So yeah, I'm already an officer on a PTSO for next year, so I'm still going to be around. But I'm just going to say like sentimental things and maybe I'll write a poem for my last meeting. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but just appreciate all you gals.
District 4.
Hey, so just want to, again, congratulate our track and field individuals and teams who did really well this season and look forward to all the things that they're going to do in the future. I also want to send a happy birthday shout out to board member Frida Player. Her birthday was yesterday. And want to equally send a shout out to board member Abigail Tyler, whose birthday is this Saturday. So happy birthday to both of you. And then lastly, just want to reiterate that District 4 will be hosting a back to school bash on Saturday, August 3rd. More information will go out soon for that back to school bash in our cluster. But just want you to pin that date and have it on your calendar. Thank you all.
District 5.
No announcements here. Thank you.
District 6.
Yeah, so just really quickly, huge shout out again to Antioch High School and Cane Ridge High School's marching bands who performed during CMA Fest this weekend. They did an incredible job. I was very, very proud of those young people. And also, one more time, congratulations on the early college announcement at Cane Ridge High School. We're doing some amazing things in Southeast, and I'm excited for it. And oh, by the way, Ms. Masters, there's always an opportunity to be a PAC officer. I'm just throwing it out there. So, thank you.
District 7.
I don't have any, but TK does.
I forgot it. I do want to congratulate Pearl-Cohn High School. They won the Team of the Year last night at the Middle Tennessee High School Sports Awards. So, yeah.
District 8. Okay. District 9.
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much to Jeffrey Berry for coming out and giving us this information. And it's just such a great example of the collaboration that we can have with the nonprofits around us. We don't have the kind of budget that can stretch to do something like this. And so they picked up the slack on that. Every single thing that we saw was completely funded by them, is completely cared by them, and all volunteers. And we are able to provide so much benefit, not just to the community, but to the school and everybody around us because of this type of collaboration. And so I just thank you so much for coming and talking to us. I know you put a lot of time and effort into this, and I really appreciate it. And I also want to just throw out a shout out there for any schools who are interested in this type of a pilot program, who would love to have a pollinator garden at their school. You can always reach out to Jeffrey Berry. You can look up Tennessee Environmental Council, and he is the executive director there. You can reach out to me as well. I'm happy to connect you if you're not sure where to go. And they will be able to walk you through step by step how to do it in a way that does not put any more on the plates of our already overburdened teachers and groups. So it's a way to provide support without adding extra. So that, and then also we have a pilot program that I'm really excited about next year that we've been working for composting with the mayor's department, with their director of sustainability and resilience. And so I'm really excited to see how that program starts to come to fruition and can build on what so many schools are already doing to support the environment, to support sustainability. So many people are already doing this in pockets, and I'm just really excited to see us start to kind of make it a little bit more supported from the outside instead of just one or two people trying to figure it out on their own, having larger systems in place through the Environmental Council, Tennessee Environmental Council, through the mayor's office, and a bunch of other groups like Urban Green Lab. And so we've just got so many people that are willing and ready to support us, and I would just love for us to keep moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. As a FYI for tonight, tonight's meeting is not broadcast on MNN. It's on YouTube though, so it will be found there. That's because council has 2 meetings tonight, specially called meetings, including one of them for budget. So, as Dr. Battle said earlier, the work never really ends, and that's, of course, ours as well. So we will keep you posted if there's any information from that meeting. Additionally, this week, on the 13th at 5 o'clock at Geodis Park, is the AON Awards, which is the Academies of Nashville Awards. I know Cameo has sent you something, or Ms. Bobo, excuse me, has sent you something about that. If you would like to join us for that event as for board members. Then about our board meetings that are upcoming, on the next meeting for June 25th, we are going to have a governance committee meeting, and it'll start at 4 o'clock, just so you guys are aware of that. Of course, it'll go on our calendar, but I want to give everybody a notice. And then additionally, again, for July, we are not having our July 9th meeting, the first meeting of the month of July. Historically, we do have that meeting, but we are switching it this year, and so we will not have our meeting on July 9th, but instead we'll have our meeting on July 23rd. All right. If there's no other additional information, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.